Hello everyone. So today we are going to start chapter 5 of class 11 political science, which is the legislature and why do we need it. So think about this for a moment. If one person or a small group started making laws for the entire country without discussion, without listening to people, would that be fair? Of course not. So that is why in a democracy we have an institution called the legislature. It is the place where the voice of the people is heard, debated and finally turned into laws. So in this video, we are going to understand everything about the legislature in a very simple and clear way. So let's start. Let's begin with a basic question. Can democracy function without a legislature? Is it possible? So we know that elections are important because they allow people to choose their representatives. But what happens after elections? Who makes laws? Who discusses national issues? Who checks whether the government is working properly? So the answer to all these questions is the legislature. So elections are just the beginning. The real work of democracy happens inside the legislature. Okay. Now what is legislature? So the legislature is a group of people who are elected by citizens to make decisions on their behalf. In simple words, it is the law-making body of the country. But its role is not limited to making laws. It also discusses important issues, represents different sections of society, and keeps a check on the government. So you can think of the legislature as the voice of the people inside the government. It is where people's will is expressed. Now, what are the functions of legislature? So the legislature performs five very important functions. First is lawmaking. It creates law that everyone in the country must follow. Second is deliberation. This means discussing issues like unemployment, education, health, and national security. Third is representation. Members of parliament represent people from different regions and communities. Fourth is control over the executive. The government is answerable to the legislature. And fifth is financial control. The legislature decides how government money is spent. So the legislature is not just about passing laws, it is about discussion, accountability, and representation. So it can be said that debate is as important as lawmaking. Now, why deliberation is important? Now you might wonder, why is discussion so important? So let's take a simple example. Suppose the government wants to make a new law related to education. So if this law is passed without discussion, it might ignore the needs of students, teachers, or rural areas. And when the law is discussed in the legislature, different members raise different concerns. One may talk about village schools, another may talk about digital education, and another about affordability. So this discussion improves the law. So in a democracy, debate is not a waste of time. It is essential for better decision making, as it prevents wrong decision, includes multiple viewpoints, and improves quality of laws. Now, India is a very diverse country. People belong to different religions, caste, language, and regions. So it is important that the legislature represents all these groups. For example, a member of parliament from a rural area may talk about farmers' issue, while someone from a city may talk about jobs and industries. So representation should not only reflect the majority but also include minority and weaker sections. Only then can democracy be truly fair, right? So representation must be inclusive. Now let's talk about bicameral legislature. What is it? So in India we have a bicameral legislature, which means two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And why there are two houses? Imagine a law is passed quickly in one house without much discussion. So the second house can review it, suggest changes, and prevent mistakes. Also, India is a federal country, meaning it has states. Rajya Sabha ensures that states also have a voice in decision making. So, two houses help in better lawmaking and balance of power. It prevents hasty decisions, ensures double check, and protects federalism. Now, there is a debate on bicameralism or two houses. So, not everyone agrees that two houses are necessary. Some people agree that having two houses slows down the process and increases cost, but others say that it improves the quality of laws and protects smaller states from being ignored. So, who are against say that it is slow lawmaking and it is expensive. And the people who are in favor of say that it is for better scrutiny, it protects states and improves the quality of laws. So in India, the makers of the constitution believed that the benefits of having two houses are more important than the disadvantages. Now let's see the composition of parliament. So the Indian parliament has three parts: the president, the Lok Sabha, and the Rajya Sabha. It is mentioned in Article 79. So many students find it surprising that the president is part of the legislature. But think about it. No bill becomes a law without the president's approval. So the legally the president plays a key role in lawmaking. Now Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha is called the House of the People because its members are directly elected by citizens, which means people can vote and choose their representatives. It has a maximum strength of 552 and its term is 5 years. All the provisions of Lok Sabha are mentioned in Article 81 and 83. So, because it is directly elected, Lok Sabha has the strongest connection with the people. What are the powers of Lok Sabha? Lok Sabha is the most powerful house in Parliament. Why? Because the government is responsible to Lok Sabha. If Lok Sabha passes a no confidence motion, the government has to resign. Also, money bills, which deal with taxes and government spending, can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. For example, the union budget is presented in Lok Sabha. So it can be said that the real political power lies here. Now, what is Rajya Sabha? Rajya Sabha is Council of States. Its members are elected indirectly by state legislatures and it represents the states of India. It is a permanent house, meaning it is never dissolved. Instead, one third of its members retire every 2 years. So, this ensures stability and continuity in governance, and its provisions are mentioned in Article 80 and 83. Now, what is the role of Rajya Sabha? Rajya Sabha plays an important role in maintaining balance. It reviews laws passed by Lok Sabha and suggests changes. It also protects the interest of states as it represents states. For example, if a law affects states, Rajya Sabha ensures that their voice is heard. It also has special powers like making laws on state list subjects during national interest. So it acts as a balancing force in the system, and it is important for federal balance. Now let's see the type of bills. So there are mainly three main types of bills: ordinary bills, which deals with general laws; money bills, which deals with taxation and government expenditure; and constitutional amendment bills, which deals with changes in constitution. Article 110 mentions the money bill. Money bills are special because they can only be introduced in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha has limited powers over them. Now let's understand the lawmaking process, how a law is passed in the parliament. First, a bill is introduced in parliament. Then it is discussed and debated. After that, voting takes place on it, and if both houses pass it, it is sent to the president. After the president's approval, it becomes a law. So this process ensures that laws are not made in a hurry and are carefully examined. One of the most important roles of the legislature is to control the government, and this is done through tools like question hour, where ministers have to answer questions. For example, if there is a problem in railway services, so MPs can ask the railway minister what is happening in the railway services. Zero hour allows urgent issues to be raised, and if the government loses majority, it can be removed through a no confidence motion. So this ensures accountability, and this is how there is control over executive. What are the committees and their financial control? So parliamentary committees play a very important role. They study bills in details and suggest improvements. And the legislature also controls finances, which helps in improving efficiency. It approves the budget, decides taxes, controls government spending. For example, if Parliament does not approve the budget, the government cannot spend money. So financial control is a very powerful function. So this is how the legislature controls the executive through money and policy. So today there are concerns about the declining role of the legislature. There is less debate, more disruptions, and increasing dominance of the executive. But despite these challenges, the legislature remains the heart of democracy because it ensures representation, accountability, and proper lawmaking. And without it, democracy cannot function. So always remember, elections give power to the people, but the legislature ensures that this power is used wisely. So this marks the end of this chapter. Read the materials from the NCERT and try to solve the questions. Okay, thank you.